Good News Radio Station family, Love Sessions. Please welcome Miss Amy Correa Bell.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Welcome. What a beautiful intro. I feel special. Thanks.
Just remember that you're gold, right?
I told you that you're gold, Charles.
You know, I thank you. I received that, you know, in this moment.
No, seriously. And you have a gold watch and ring on.
Oh, yeah. My wife,
truly are gold.
It's one of our anniversary, one of my Father's Day anniversary gifts or something. Shout out to you for coming through. I appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Yeah,
we go way back.
Yeah. We're having a moment. They laughing on the sideline, but don't worry.
Yeah, guys, we having a sentimental moment.
He's on live, right?
Oh
so I'm thinking he wanted me to hold it and put it on y'all. He's telling me to read the comments, so I tried to. I read the comments, but then I waved at the comments.
She was talking to the person.
The camera was not on me. There goes.
But my brother back in the day directed. Ricardo Handy directed a short, and it was called a short film called Jennifer Says.
Yes,
which is like
and it won awards.
Yeah,
it did really well.
It was like it was a cool. I was ironically, I think I was actually in the military at the time, so I think I might have been either in Iraq or either like in my duty station or whatever. So I didn't get to like had that experience. I always saw the pictures, but I did see while he was making it with you, and you would come by and look at the cuts and stuff.
Such a big part to play in my career as far as just starting me out, because I had a long break before that short film. I was a child actress and got into a bunch of music, and I had a break, and he approached me about doing this short film, and when it made it into the film festivals, that was kind of like a sign for me to get back full force into acting at the time.
Oh, and everybody that was a part of that film like really branched off.
They
and it was
did.
Like,
it was crazy.
It was cool. I forget like
there is a little creepy scene in there with me and the teacher though.
Oh really? I gotta rewatch that.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. It was I wasn't such a good girl in that short film.
Oh, okay.
You know, good girl. She's nice, but she's got a bad side. I guess.
It was adult.
I get typecast, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah,
not an adult film, but like it was.
Well,
but it was adult.
Yeah. He was kind of there.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
But anyways, I'm very happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, and we reconnected. She came through by Revolt and was premiering her video with Megan Good and Ricky Bell. And you guys showed the Gold video. It's
the Gold acoustic and the remix.
Yeah, and the remix, which is like, and it's a real good story about the how the song came about, and too as far as just the goal, the saying, just remembering that you're gold, and just wanted somebody to. I guess, is it about like remembering your light and considering
the person in front of you and calling out the gold in them, like what their value is, which is not like what's on the outside, but what's on the inside. Oh,
there goes the
hey.
track. Yeah. And so
nice.
Tell us
you guys just keep surprising
me. What is it? What is it about? Like, how did this song like come about? Like,
Gold?
The Ghost. Yeah.
Well, I was working on my first solo project, and I really wanted Ricky to just come to my producer's place and hear the music and give me his opinion on like if he thought it was cool or not. And he just was like, "Hey, man, first of all, you found your style. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
And I want to be the one to introduce you. I think you should do a song with me before putting these songs out."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Let's do it." And so my producer and I got together. We studied Ricky. We wanted to do something he'd never done before because he loves Sting. He loves Phil Collins. He loves artists that, a lot of his audience wouldn't believe. So we tailored the song to just bring out another side of him. But I don't know if everyone saw the New Edition miniseries.
Yeah, we all seen it.
All right.
A couple of times.
Yeah. If you ain't seen it, then I don't know what's wrong with you now.
That movie had come out, and it was out there that, my husband had used drugs, and he had a past, and we'd gone through some things. And so a lot of people just wondered, like, people kept coming up to Ricky and I like, "Hey, man, you guys really inspired us. Thanks for telling the truth. Like, I'm going through that with my girl." Like, we had a lot of couples coming up to us. So I said, "Rick, when it came to write the song, we just said, like, why don't we just write about why we're still together? Like, let's authentically write about our life."
Yeah.
And so Gold was about, through all the pain and heartache, we come back to one another because we decided to see the gold in one another, as opposed to all the bad things. We stayed together because we decided to call out the good in one another and just hold on to that. And because we held on just a little bit longer, we came into this big blessing with a movie. Like, I never thought in a million years. First of all, it was a secret. I would never tell all that stuff. So, and people were like praising us for it, which I felt weird about. But then I was like, okay, God, like, this is your way of bringing restoration and a blessing to all the, can I cuss on here? All the shit I've been through. Because I have been through a lot. And I was like,
what'd you think about the woman that played you?
You know what? I love her.
Yeah.
We're friends.
No, I seen her. I was like,
she's so beautiful, right?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, okay. That's different. It's a little different.
She's from Philly, so she's a little East Coast. I caught a little accent. In the movie, I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm such a Valley girl, but she killed it.
Yeah, definitely. Acting. No, she definitely killed it. It was just so, to me, like, seeing, I was just interested to see, like, okay, how does it feel to be portrayed in a movie, and kind of how do you
weird.
Yeah.
I mean, when Ricky took us, when we went to set, he goes, "You want to go? They're going to be doing one of our scenes." So we were just sitting back, and I'm watching the scene of when Ricky's saying to me, other me, so weird.
Yeah, he's saying me.
Hey, I'm losing the house. I've lost everything. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. All I know what to do is sing and dance. And she's like, you can do it. Like, you're Ricky Bell, like, encouraging. And it was just so awkward. I was like, whoa, this is like a real 360. Yeah. I'm like, God, you just have a funny way of.
And then what about watching it? What about, like, after you see it, then you watch it?
I didn't see all the scenes, because after that I told Ricky, I said, you know what? I think we should say what's up to the actors, and we should dip so they can feel free to do their thing.
But I'm saying watching the finished movie, the finished product, like how did. So what's that?
I definitely shed a tear.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was emotional and beautiful, and I just felt very, very happy for the guys of New Edition.
Yeah,
and really proud of my husband for telling the truth.
Yeah,
because everyone had a chance to say what their side of the story was. And I didn't know Ricky told everything.
Yeah.
And there's so much more, guys, that we haven't told.
Yeah.
And since we put music out, everyone's like, well, are you guys going to, how'd you guys meet? And what happened? And what else happened? So we're like, okay. So right now we're working on, I can't give the full details because I'm not allowed to.
Yeah.
But you guys will see our entire story soon. And you'll hear more music. You will see more of Cynthia and Elijah, the couple that played us. But you know what, guys? I've decided I'm going to go all the way raw with it. We're going to give details.
Wow.
We're going to tell the truth because you know what? If it can help somebody, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Why go through, years and years of all these problems, and then we're still together and we're not sharing that information with anyone?
Yeah.
How you overcame it.
Right. Yeah. And why we're still together, what are we doing now, and how are we hanging in there? Yeah. It's not like we don't get tempted or don't have problems now, but how are we able to move forward and live a blessed life and give to others? Like, what changed? So I feel like if we're honest, people will really appreciate it, because I think that's what stuck with people is they're like, they're real. Like, that's real love, or that's authentic. People love the truth.
Yeah.
If you try to make yourself look all glossy.
People can relate to the truth, definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
And they can see through the bullshit, basically. Like, it's hard to hide,
And you know what?
Because a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff, and they want to hear the real, like, because we get enough of the fake stuff on social media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The relationship goals and this is how we are when you turn your phone off, and then you may have an argument. It's like, okay, you're not going to post that stuff, but at the same time, like, people want to be able to know that they're not the only person that may be dealing with some difficulty in a relationship. I would like some of that fancy water.
Yeah, I think
definitely brought the Fijis out.
There's a blessing in telling your truth, and when you've been through addiction, and I've dealt with addiction on a lot of sides. You spend so much time hiding it from everyone, and putting on a like I'm okay face, and it takes a lot of work. So to be honest with you, when the movie came out, I was kind of relieved. I'm like, cool, now the secret's out. I mean, I have really, really close best friends that were like, for real? Like, why didn't you ever tell me?
Well,
Like,
what would you say has been, or what was the thing that held you together, or the two of you together during that time, like dealing with someone who is dealing with an addiction? Like, how do you be there for someone who, you know, is essentially sick in a way? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't want to say I have the perfect answer, but the one thing I did was not give up on him. I just hung in there a little bit longer. You know, when I could have divorced or could have told everybody, could have gossiped, I decided to trust just a couple of select people. Mm-hmm. I decided to surround myself with people that could pray for me, that believed in Ricky, that weren't going to like talk trash about him and down his name. And I held on to those two people like with my dear life. It's like, and just like call him every week, crying, hey, help me. And I really, you know, I've always loved God and believed in his word, but this was the first time I said, okay, this Bible stuff's all real. Let's try it.
Right.
Like, what's up? I'm praying. I'm going to do this. I'm going to just give it my best shot. And because I really had tried everything else. So I did that, and I just stuck in there, I guess, and did what God was telling me to do. But I also, you know, there's meetings for people that are families or relatives of addicts. It's an anonymous program, so I'm not allowed to say the name, but you can look on Google for that, and there's meetings you can go to. You can get a sponsor. They got 12-step meetings. And, hey, man, so many people go through this stuff. I thought it was like I was so special and different. Like,
right, like you're
it's only
the
happening
only one.
to me.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
no. A lot of people are going through this all the time. And it really helped me to have sympathy towards Ricky and everyone in that situation. Also, I also attended meetings that, you know, alcoholics and addicts would go to just so I could hear it from their perspective.
Right.
And it gave me a completely different light on it to just not judge them. And to understand that I know there's so many diseases in America that are not treated with respect, like mental diseases, addictions, and they're like frowned upon, but cancer is not frowned upon, or you know, diabetes is not frowned upon. But why is it, if it's something in your mind, it's frowned upon? It's like people just like judge somebody for it, but a lot of it's hereditary or genetic, or, you know, it's just, it happens. I wish that would change.
Yeah.
I think a part of it is like some people feel like it's the stronger minded people feel as though it's just they look at it as like it's a choice, and it is a choice, but for some it is an ailment, and
yes,
and
exactly.
for some you do need help. It's not as
right.
It's not as easy as being okay, I'm just going to turn this switch on and I'm going to have just positive thoughts all the time. You need assistance for it. So I think that's why it's taboo, frowned upon, not talked about in certain I would say, you know, demographics.
Right. Right, exactly.
And yeah, so but yeah,
pretty
emotional
crazy stuff.
yeah. I mean, and it goes along with the topic today, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Being able to be in tune with your thoughts, your emotions, and knowing how to respond and react to certain situations, to, you know, be it somebody that has an addiction, or you know, whatever it is, whatever.
Someone who's crazy.
Yeah, it's just somebody who's just, you know, flat out crazy, abusive. Whatever it is.
Right.
Being able to control yourself so that you could best help them.
Control your reactions.
Yes, control your reactions. Control how you respond to it, knowing that. I'm sorry, I should have been.
Turned it to yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're talking. Knowing
and you need to speak up a little bit.
Okay, I'm sorry. Knowing that. What was I talking about? Knowing that.
Controlling your reactions.
Oh yeah, there you go. Knowing that you can be a helpmate if you're, you know, if you're in sound mind and in tune.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Which at first, when you're dealing with an addiction, you're just reacting all the time. reacting.
Yeah, because it's personal. It's
it's like, how could you do this to me?
And then it's
I
also
can stop you.
Not like your timeline or the person who is not dealing with it, because I know oftentimes one of the things you said, you held on and you didn't give up, right? Because I think if people are gonna give up, it's like, okay, it's not happening soon enough. You get what I mean? Like, the person is not getting well soon enough. Like, whatever the timeline is, okay, I'll give you 6 months, but I mean, you can't really put, again, timelines and things on another person, on their sickness or on their addiction. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just a tough.
And then it's like you can't judge the people who just can't take it anymore.
Right.
It's at the same time, because everyone has a different threshold. For me, I just personally believe I'm with the person I'm supposed to be with. So I made the choice to marry him. I knew what I was getting myself into. I'm not, a saint. I have my history with drugs and alcohol myself. I'm just not an addict per se. So I'm definitely not one to judge. And this is a deep conversation, guys.
No, I know. I think that's what it is. I mean, it's just a good conversation that needs to be had, and I think that the judgment. I mean, that's where it all boils down to. I think that's what's happening in today's society, and it's getting worse. Is that we are quick to judge? Like, everybody's judging someone, right? And I mean, it could be due to social media, technology, whatever.
Oh my gosh!
But
because social media literally creates the forum to judge.
And judge from afar.
How do you not judge on there?
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's just, but that's what it is. I think it's just.
But I think it's pretty deep that you guys are titling this emotional intelligence, because I think you have to master being intelligent at managing your emotions.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly what it. That's exactly
number one,
what
when
it
you're in a relationship. Number two, when there's addictions present or recovery from addictions, you have to learn how to not let your feelings take over. The fear, the emotional, the hurt. You have to actually find a way to respond in a way that they feel safe, that they know when they're ready to get help, that they'll trust you, to do that with.
Did the term? How did the vow for better or for worse play a factor into staying or staying and everything?
It's played a factor.
I mean, I would imagine. I'm just thinking, because it's
for
like
richer, for poor. I feel like I went through all of those.
Right.
It's like, okay, now this one, now this one,
be tested.
Right?
Because a lot of times people say, for better or for worse, but then worse comes, and it's like worse than you thought.
Tell
like
me,
the
baby,
worst.
Can you stand the rain? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because worse is not something that, whenever you think worse, you think, okay, that's bad, but whatever it is, whatever you're dealing with at the time, which is good, will always overshadow that. So then when something bad or what seems to be worse happens, and it's like, whoa, I would have never, you know what I mean? Because who signs up? Like, if you knew, just, if you go back, hindsight, they always say is 20/20. But if you knew everything, because you said you knew what you were getting into, but I think at the same time you don't know fully what that experience would be like, and where you would be mentally, where you would be emotionally, where you would be spiritually, as you go through those different things. But if you knew everything that would play out, and I'm not saying the aftermath of, but just knowing that would have to be something that you would go through, would people really just sign up for that? Probably not. You think beyond, like, this is the person who I love, this is the person that I want to be with. Yeah. And so you're willing to, go through that storm once you're in it. But, like, no one could tell you, you're going to get, like, hit by a car, and then you're going to do this, and then this is going to happen, and they'll be like, so you want to go? And you'll be like, no, I don't want to go. You just told me all the dangers, and that's probably why we're not told. You know what I mean? Because we would bow out or quit early, and not have that experience or the growth, or the experience. Because I'm sure you've come out stronger, different, better.
Well, before Ricky and I got married, there was a time we were like super in love, and we were having a conversation. We're like, now's the time to talk about the rest of our lives. Like, let's make some deals. And we had a talk. We're like, look, there's going to be some times where I'm not feeling you. You're not feeling me. You're tempted. I'm tempted. Maybe we just want to be friends. You piss me off. So let's just decide right now, because of what we have now, like, what are we going to do that's going to keep us together? And we decided that day, like, let's make a pact, Breaking up is not an option. Like, we could be mad at each other. We can not talk for weeks, but we're not going to break up. We're going to just, like, stick in there. And so, there's been a lot of, like, little signs with me throughout the years, even through hard times. Like, one Valentine's Day, he got me something, like a scroll, and it said in there, breaking up is not, and I was like, oh, shoot, he remembered, because we never talked about it.
Right.
Now we talk about it. Like, remember that pact we made before we got married? I feel like we got married that day. I know we got married on our wedding day.
Right, absolutely.
But we made a deal before then. Absolutely. Like, hey, this is why we're together.
When you make that commitment.
Yeah, because it's almost like a choice. Like, we're going to be, we're going to be life partners. This is going to be rough, but it's also going to be amazing. And how do we stick through this? The way we're going to stick through it is by making a deal that no matter what, we're going to stand by each other. No matter what happens. I know this all sounds so, like, pillow talk and easy breezy. I don't know how it's coming across, but
sounds like y'all stuck with it. Like,
well,
you meant it. It sounds like y'all meant it. When y'all
you lived it, and that's, to me, more of the testament versus the lip service. Like, I'm saying all this stuff, but when the rough and tough times come, this is too much. I'm out. You know what I mean? Which, as you said
easy
before,
to do that.
People have that option, and okay. No harm, no foul. That's what you've chosen to do. But at the same time, like, what will happen when in the next situation or later on down the line when you do get to a tough space?
Right.
Because I feel like, and this is just me just maybe being optimistic about it all, but, like, the people, I feel like, who have, like, those deep bonds and those deep relationships, they come on the heels of, they've gone through stuff, whether it was within their relationship, whether it was personal and they had to, like, overcome, whether it was loss or financial or death or something that just kind of breaks them as a person.
Yeah.
Because how would you know if a person really is there for you or really got your
them.
back if you've never been through anything? You know what I mean?
That's so
how can you know? Because it'd be like, yeah, I got you, but we've never gone through nothing.
And then the real person always comes out.
Right.
When something bad is going on.
Exactly.
Something's going on in the family or loss of a life or something. That's when their real personality kicks in. I would say that you really get to know somebody when they're going through the worst thing in their life. That's when their true person comes out.
Right.
And I've dealt with a lot of loss in my family. And I think that actually helped me too because, Ricky, he's really come through in those hard times with my family when I had my aunt passing from cancer. Like, he just really stepped up and was there for me. And I was like, wow, that's all I've ever wanted is to, be able, like, if someone's sick in the hospital, I want my husband to come with me and pray for them or hold my hand, hug me. Like,
that's really
those
important.
Little things matter to me more than anything.
Right, exactly.
More than what you're looking like, dressed like, perfect. I need to know that those hard times come, you're going to be there. And that Ricky has done. So I know I don't want to paint him in, like, this picture like he's, like, this bad guy that, like, all he did was use drugs and things like that. Like,
I definitely don't think that's. I think that because it's interesting. I would say we talked about this last week. For me, I was feeling like I barred into whatever the image was in the media at the time. I always barred, like Whitney Houston, for example. I was like, she had this interview, she was like with Bob Walters or whatever. She was like, yeah, I'm, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like that, she said that's kind of she's a pop star to me. So I always thought for whatever reason, maybe I was just like out of the business. I was just like, oh, since I had these people, I was thinking of them in segments. Oh, the pop stars, they might party and do this fun stuff, but the rock stars are the ones that do the rock and roll.
They do the heavy,
they're the crazy ones, right? I don't know why I had this whole segment in my mind or whatever, but so now it's just like, no, these guys are like, they're pop stars, rock stars, and so these things, it's not, it's not like, oh, they're anything that you see, I don't see it as like bad. I don't attach those things to. I'm just like, it's kind of like.
And now it's like you're cool if you're popping pills. And,
oh, right, that's definitely.
Right?
Like,
we be popping pills.
Yeah.
Everything is get high, get drunk, take drugs, and you're cool now.
Yeah, that's definitely the unfortunate part of this young generation. Definitely, it's kind of like
it's really different.
It's too much at this point. It's like it's to the point where the young kids are actually kind of like doing like pour out your lean challenges and like because they're losing some of the people. And
I've been hearing stories. My friend's daughter tells me stories about people in her high school. Everyone has those jewels and they vape all day, wake up smoking weed, but they're like in 9th grade.
Yeah, it's
back in 9th grade, you would ditch school and if you found someone with some weed and be like the cool person, like, oh my gosh, we were able to find some.
But now it's like a whole different
I know
thing.
a guy. Yeah. I know a guy. He lives on this street.
Yeah.
Now it's like a service delivered to your door.
Yeah.
There's all these apps. It's so different.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, we do we
Back
want
to
to transition?
emotional
Do we want to?
intelligence.
Yeah. Do we want to transition to the current topics, or we're too deep into the? I just want to shout out my Warriors. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
well,
Charles,
I
I'm a Warrior.
Right
there with you. Sorry, Lakers.
We got sorry Lakers. But they got LeBron. You know what I'm saying? But all that to say is they got LeBron. But the Warriors just got Boogie Cousins. You know what I'm saying? So the Warriors literally have 5 All-Stars starting on their roster. Their starting roster is 5 All-Stars, which is kind of crazy.
You said the who?
The Warriors. The Warriors.
Who did they just get?
Boogie Cousins. He's like he was really good. He used to be in SAC, but then he came down to then he went to the Pelicans, but then the Warriors just picked him up. He's like
that must have been that post that I saw recently. Did they get rid of anybody?
No, well, what's his name? Hey, what up? So they,
say hi to you.
so they just JaVale McGee. Shout out to JaVale McGee. He did his thing, for the Warriors, but he went to the Lakers.
Really?
Yeah, JaVale McGee.
What?
Was gone.
They got rid of him, or he left?
I think he was like a free agent or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So the Lakers, I think LeBron was being petty. You know what I'm saying? And he just was like, he was probably like, "Oh, that's y'all boy." You know, what I'm saying? let me
I'm
go.
Sorry, but LA is about to be popping.
No, it is.
Right.
Hey,
I was like, hey, thanks for giving us a reason to get season tickets.
Oh yeah.
Go to the game.
Well, just give me the ones that y'all don't want. You know what I'm saying? Those little Pelicans or
when
Pelicans.
They play
when they play in Sacramento, so you don't want to go to those games.
You're like, I'll go.
Yeah.
No, we just get this football team. It's a wrap.
Oh, well, they got the Rams. You rocking with the
and
Rams?
the Chargers.
Nobody likes the Chargers.
The point of the matter is that it's 2 teams in the same place,
right?
And they gonna be taking up all the space on the street.
Oh yeah, right there in Inglewood, huh? It's
Inglewood's popping.
Yes, Inglewood is about to be like.
Inglewood's the spot. You guys got the Forum, Roscoe's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what more could you ask for? I saw Janet Jackson at that Forum and went to get Roscoe's after. Best night of my life.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's a lot going on in LA and just in general. But hey, that's what it's all about, right? People making some dollars somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's dope. I think that LeBron is happy to be. He wants, because I was thinking about this today. I'm like, you know what? Like, if I was LeBron, like, wouldn't you want to be the man? Like, you're already the man in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? He's like, now he could be the man in LA. Like,
and I love that he's actually going to a team that he can rebuild and bring more life to it. That's a challenge.
And linking up with Magic.
That shows his leadership, skills there. I was like, okay.
I want to see him and Magic.
He just wanted to be on the West Coast.
I was just happy to see everyone happy yesterday.
Oh yeah,
all my people. Yeah. Everyone's like, "Hey, did you hear about LeBron?" Like,
yeah.
Ricky and I were out, and all the Latinos, all my people, were just smiling, like, "Hey." I was like, "This is a good day for Los Angeles."
Well, today, speaking of the Latino community, the Latinx in Mexico, they lost today. The World Cup.
Oh, so does that mean that
they're
all the
Mexico.
Mexican flags that I saw, they're gonna go back?
Well, they definitely sad. You know, they definitely are mad.
They take that
Brazil lost 2-0 to Brazil this morning.
Ouch.
So
I honestly really thought, because I don't follow
it was over.
soccer, but I thought it was over because literally, like, I just saw everybody driving around with their flags. I was like, hey, okay, it's done.
Wow.
No, it's like France, Brazil, like
And then
Russia.
For a moment,
still
wasn't
in.
Nigeria doing?
Russia made it to like the next level, but yeah, I mean not Russia, Nigeria, but yeah. So unfortunately, no African teams are like at this level, and then Mexico's out.
Meow.
So I know Russia's still in. So shout out to them.
Shout out Russia. Yeah, I'm very excited for you guys. So, what made you guys get the topic emotional intelligence? Just wondering.
Me, I've been wanting to talk about it because actually
it just sounds kind of sexy. Emotional intelligence.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like I want a man. I want a woman that's emotionally intelligent.
because I think about emotional IQ, and I actually wanted us to take a emotional IQ test because they talk about IQ, and I think that it's been a subject that I've been kind of wanting to dive into because I know that there's just different types of intelligence, and that's kind of what I kind of know that there's I think there's street smarts, and then there's book smart, and then there's intelligence, and then there's also emotional intelligence, like reading the room, having the ability to not just act on your emotions, but also kind of process the information. So I think that and then I think I think it fits.
Something just hit my spirit too. Is I think we're kind of programmed to if you're feeling sad or angry to stuff it down or to be okay. And a lot of men don't cry, or they're just always angry because they don't cry. Or if a woman cries, she's being a baby, or if she's angry, she's angry,
weak.
Right? And I just think we're so programmed to not feel. And I had recently heard someone say if you're gonna cry or you have any kind of emotion, it lasts from 60 seconds to 2 minutes. The peak of it. If you just let it pass.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And I think because my cat passed away in April.
Oh,
I've
sorry
lost.
To hear that.
Thanks. I don't want to be sad girl here, but I've lost a friend 2 years ago. I was so used to, before that family members passed, I was so used to blocking or just being okay because
internalizing and not having.
Yeah, and when you're an actress, they don't care if someone just died. You have an audition on Tuesday. You need to show up and look cute and get it together. So I was always well, I'm okay. Right. Yeah, hi. And I just got to the point where I'm okay, I feel like this hurts right now. I'm gonna cry. I'm just gonna let it cry for 10 minutes, and I feel so much better. Then I found out that there's in your tears. When you cry, the tears that are coming out are actually healing. It's getting out the toxins from your body. The tears. I didn't know that.
Wow.
So I didn't know that, but I believe it because I'm a crier. I feel like it's a soul cleansing type of thing. So when I do it, and then after I'm done, and this is really weird that I do, but I'll cry, and then I'll get it all out, and then I'll go into the bathroom, and then I'll look at myself, and I just start busting up laughing.
Oh, my God.
Because I'm
that's amazing, Akila.
Because if you look at your face after you've done...
You look crazy.
You're like, well, what was I going through?
I look like I just got beat up in a boxing match.
You got to take a picture next time.
Oh, my God. I get so puffy.
I laugh because, as you said, and you just pretty much articulated it, but... After all of that emotion has passed, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I feel better now. So, now I want to laugh because...
Yeah.
I definitely had that specific experience. My grandma, she had passed. She had a brain aneurysm. So, when initially they told me, and I was sad, and I kind of had an initial cry, but then leading up to the funeral, I didn't cry, right? I was just upset about it. but then I felt like I physically felt like a pain in my stomach. You know, I like had like a I don't know, it's like a physical thing. So then, like I just eventually like leading up to the funeral. You know, I'm like not crying, but I feel like a pain in my side, and for whatever reason, it clicked to me. I'm like, I gotta get this, like, I gotta get this out because it's gonna like turn to like that's why I thought I was like gonna turn to cancer or something.
But
I felt,
it can turn into
I felt
and all type of stuff.
I like literally, I literally felt like a pain in my side, and I was like, oh damn. So then I like was walking up, and I like literally. It was like almost like a movie scene or something because I walking up to the, and I, you know, they want you to pass a body or whatever, and I started just got hit with emotions, and my brother, like I just felt like a burst, like I was like that pain, just it was like a burst, and I like fell back, and then it was crazy because I fell back into my brother's arms. It was like a trip.
So sweet.
Yeah, it was like a
you
real
got the
trip.
Holy Ghost.
Yeah, like for real. It was, and then I started crying and all that stuff. But then it was crazy because it felt good. You know, it was like because it needed, because it kind of like because it needed to happen, I guess.
Right.
You know, and it was so I definitely know like. You know, if you lock up all your feelings and just hide it,
unforgiveness,
it's gonna,
resentment.
I
mean, that stuff turns into things.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. It turns into
your
other
face
stuff.
starts to look angry all the time. You change.
And you become irritable about a lot of stuff, and it's like, well, why are you irritable? Why are you, you know what I mean? Why are you upset? Why are you angry? Why are you mad? You know,
why are you mad all the time?
That really doesn't even call, you know, for you to really be angry at, but it's just in there. And then I mean, we all feel it, and it's just kind of like, okay, what's going on? Like, I need to let this go, and that's where the fine line is, because I don't put, kind of touching on what we were talking about before, but I don't put any type of, you know, addiction or anything like past anybody. You get what I mean? Because really it just takes the right circumstance, the right situation,
right,
and not getting the proper healing that you need. Because what do? We're going to all find a way to self-medicate, whatever that thing is.
Right.
And you're going to go to that because it's going to give you that, okay, I need to feel better. Although it doesn't take it away, because that's why you have to keep going. You know what I mean? That's why you got to keep going back to it, because you're like, okay, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to worry about this or whatever. And so, again, like, especially in a lot of the Black and brown communities, because we don't address a lot of these things, and we're not going to get the proper help, we're not going to the therapy sessions, we're not getting the counseling, we're not because if I mention this to this person, then they're gonna feel some type of way, they're gonna judge me, or they're gonna be like, oh, you shoulda, coulda, woulda,
or they go talking to somebody else. Right, now your business is out there,
so then you're like, okay, now I don't have anybody to talk to about it, so what do I do now? And whatever is the closest thing to you at the time is probably going to be the thing, you know, that you turn to, and or the thing that you know best. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm like, I rather just do as much, you know, like self-reflection and healing as possible. Loving because yourself, like I said, that it could be me. You know what I mean? It's not, although some people are predisposed to certain things, a lot of the stuff, as we were kind of talking about before, is mental, and it's not like, you know, you just became a part of that family, and that family just got mental issues, and everybody in that family, so I'm not gonna have any of that. Like, no, you can be right there in the same shoes as that person.
Yep.
Give you the right circumstance. No, that didn't break you. This might. You know, if you don't have that support system because everybody was like, oh no, that was too much, and now you're left by yourself. How can you kind of get the support and help that you need, because your support system bailed on you because they were like, nah, this too much.
Exactly. You know? I know. When you were talking, I'm like, man, I wish growing up there was like an after-school program where they could talk about processing feelings or giving you outlets to do creative things or just stuff to get out your emotions.
Right.
They have them.
They do?
Yeah. There's one called Margaret's Place.
Oh, there you go.
And it's pretty much for that, like for counseling, for pretty much have a counselor set up to where kids can come into his classroom at any point of the day.
Where is this Margaret's Place?
Well, they have them at different school sites. But I know I work at Venice High School, so I know that They have one at
'Cause
my
I
site.
know it's not at all.
So that's good information that needs to get put out
But
there.
it's it's a non-profit called Margaret's Place.
I love that.
But and so they specialize in just pretty much counseling kids that may have traumatic experiences. Maybe going through.
But schooling has changed too because
gender,
they're doing social
identity,
emotional, a lot of
yeah.
social emotional support
of all the
in
bullying
schools
and
now.
things, yeah.
Mhm. A lot of it. Whereas
Trauma-
I don't remember having any type of
Me neither.
access to social emotional stuff in school, but now it literally is like kind of the main ingredient because if you can't, if a kid is not mentally stable enough to learn, you can't teach them anything. So
True.
it's like now the focus is let's get you right, so then we can teach you, so you can learn. You know,
Right. That's
That's
awesome.
too much distortion. You can't really focus on what's
Right.
being said. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm just happy to hear that there's programs out there, for kids to get help.
And with that said, that's I know we were talking about you mentioned Netflix, but we were kind of talking about the series. I don't know if you've seen it, 13 Reasons Why. It's a Netflix series about, season 1 was really about this girl who committed suicide. And so she creates these audio tapes and sends them, or she had
It was
one
a
person
storyline,
basically
pretty much.
to send them to the individuals that she felt
Played a part.
impacted her decision to take her life.
Ouch.
Exactly.
Season
It's kind of
2.
gory.
No, it was
Wow.
it was so it
It
was
was
to the
sick.
point where I was feeling certain things when I was watching. I was like, "Oh, this is heavy." I said, if somebody is dealing with or struggling with that, it probably wouldn't be the best time to see it. Or if they did, they would have to sit down with someone who can kind of process them through it because it's really deep. And then I felt like season 2.
I haven't watched season
Oh, you
2.
haven't watched season
No.
2.
I
So
just started it.
season 2 to me got even deeper because what they did was instead of just focusing on suicide. So we both work at. He worked at Venice High. I work on at a different high school.
Nice.
But we work with high school kids. So like for me, it's just kind of like it's all relevant just because like
yeah.
I see this every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so season 2 deals more with drug addiction.
Okay.
Specifically, they start talking about that.
Wow.
They talk about sexual abuse and assault. They talk about that. They talk about they talk about gender and sexuality, but it's not to the extent of like where people are having a whole bunch of issues, with that or like coming out or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like they're dealing more with the underlying stuff. But really, it's drugs and sexual abuse that they touch on with this season. And I mean, it gets deep, but I was like, so much stuff that was going on in their high school, the fictional high school that they have, that I know would never go down at our school because we have safety officers, we have like a bunch of adults that are around, and I have a really small school. But I don't know, maybe at Venice High,
all kind of craziness going down.
And I'm like baffled, like how is this possible? Like how is all of this happening in the bathrooms, in the hallways,
they have co-ed
on the porch,
bathrooms in high schools now.
What now?
You're
Right now?
talking about the gender neutral
Yes.
bathrooms, but they
These
can't go in there at the same time.
Ask me if they don't.
So is that like the hookup spot?
That's the hookup spot.
Yeah.
Like
They're
I've
like, "Thanks,
never,
guys."
because
Yeah.
I'm like 35, so I'm like,
You had to think about
No,
it. I was
'cause
like,
you
how
old.
old you
No.
are?
I'm like, how long have I been out of school? But I never would have thought that I've seen a day where
right.
I'm walking down the high school hallway and I see a girl go in the bathroom and a guy go in the bathroom right after. Nobody's saying shit about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, if this was me, because I'm thinking about like what I'm, I have to put myself in their shoes. Like if I was a kid in 16,
But I'm
17.
still
No,
trying
wait,
to figure out how
listen,
this is possible.
And this is for 9th through 12th grade. So
That's too
Those are the
much,
crazy-
bro.
I'm like,
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
I'm like, if this was me back then, the thoughts that I had back then,
Right.
I know it would, but there's people getting caught there. There's people smoking weed. We got people that ditch. It's everything. It's
How many
every
students? How many students are?
Kids
a
was.
lot.
I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, that's one more little.
Kids selling
but,
drugs.
But people, kids was all that stuff you just said was going on in my high school. So I mean, the bathroom
Charles, we
was
went
just.
to the same high school. What I'm telling you,
You did?
is,
Yeah, we did, but
Y'all
that
boys
was.
and girls didn't have bathrooms together.
But I'm saying the
But
bathrooms
imagine-
wasn't together.
imagine
But you just
how
said
cracking
kids.
It would be
You
if
said
y'all
kids.
had a boys and girls bathroom.
People was hooking up at school. People was selling drugs. People was smoking drugs. People was doing what they do at school.
But now it's more. There's more leniences for it now.
Yeah, it's more
Like
common.
they fought to get those bathrooms like that.
Yeah.
but it wasn't for that. And I,
It wasn't for that, but what? It's a loophole. It's like,
I knew
it's a
it was going to
loophole.
be a loophole. But what I'm trying to understand is, you're talking about a bathroom that
That's how
has
we-
multiple stalls.
As soon as they took out the prayer in school, that's when it all went down.
But are you saying your bathroom has multiple stalls?
That's when it all
Does it
went
have
downhill.
multiple stalls?
Yeah.
That's
Well, I've never
crazy.
been in there, but I'm
So,
sure
are
that
you-
I'm sure it's not just one stall. It's a big bathroom.
Because by law, right, schools had to create a bathroom that was for both male and female,
For both genders.
specifically for those who are transgender, so that they wouldn't feel
Confused.
isolated or so they wouldn't feel isolated, and or other people wouldn't feel uncomfortable. They'd be able to go to the
Have their
bathroom,
own
do their
bathroom.
business, have their privacy, and then come out. Well, the issue was, okay, if it's just a one person stall and they're able to lock the door, then now you have kids who can go in a bathroom, right? One stall, lock the door, and no one can get in. You know what I mean? Like, essentially, like, of course the safety officers or the main people would have the key, but that was like one of the
These doors are
drawbacks.
open.
But he's talking
Goodness.
about multiple
What
stalls.
about a girl when she's going through, her time of the month or something?
or
I
even
mean, there's a.
She has
I
a
guess
moment.
There's a.
yeah, she can go. She can
There's
use
a
that
stall
restroom,
in
or
there.
or if people
Jeez.
really just want to go number 2. A lot of times, people want to just have their own space because
Right.
kids will be like, "Can I go home?" It's like, no,
Mama's
just go to
over
the
there
bathroom.
confused.
I don't go to the public bathroom. Like, okay, well, I went down to the bathrooms in the girls' locker room.
That's what
But
happens.
the point of the matter is I thought it was just a one stall thing, like where you can go in, you're by yourself, and you'll be done. You're talking about a whole
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
situation, so that's new news to me.
It's so cool that you guys work at high schools.
The youth.
The youth, they matter.
They do.
How was it being a child actor? Like
Yeah.
how was that? How was
It was
that?
so fun.
Yeah. Like, it was your idea, or
Well,
you had the momager? No, I'm joking.
My mommy-
Shout out to your mom. She
and
like,
my
yeah.
mom's here chilling. Hey, Mom. No, I have to give a shout out to my mom. She came from Guatemala. She brought her entire family here, her 10 brothers and sisters, her mom and dad. She was the pioneer. And she
Awesome.
met my dad, who's from Puerto Rico. He's from New York, but they met here.
Mhm.
And, when I was growing
Here
up.
in LA.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They met here in LA. All I knew growing up is that they just worked super hard. My dad got up at 4 a.m, got back at 6. It was like routine for years. And my mom had multiple jobs just, to pay. I grew up in a nice home, and, I went to public school, but for junior high, they put me in a private school. So my parents just always worked. But when I was young, I was really obsessed with Madonna and music videos and all the music that was out, and I just loved to perform. I loved to get up and do shows, whether I was singing or telling jokes. And they were filming Meteor Man. I don't know if you guys remember
I
this.
love that
That's my
movie.
joint.
Right down the street from my
Oh,
house.
really? Meteor Man.
Robert
Yeah.
Townsend.
I was
love
11, and I
that
was like,
movie.
I actually want to see them rebooted. This would be,
Right?
that would be a dope reboot to me.
I had just told my mom, I really want to be in acting so bad. Please just take me. So she took me to the set, and, I was just there watching. I was like, I just want to be an actress so bad. Like, I'll do whatever. Like, I just want to be in a movie. And someone was like, she's so cute. She could do extra work or something. So, yeah, I started out doing extra work.
I gotta watch that movie.
I did.
now.
I was in Munchies 2 or something. And through that, I got a manager and booked my first commercial when I was 12.
And commercials is the way for like most kids to kind of start getting that exposure. It seems like a lot of kids always say like, "Oh, I would do a lot of commercials or something."
Yeah,
it seems like the way
it was, and I got lucky and booked, a lot of stuff on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon when I was younger. But back then, it was so fun for me because I had no fear.
Yeah,
like I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Oh, you want me to dance? You want me to tell a joke? Like I wasn't, I didn't have any doubt. It wasn't until after I hit like my late teenage years and I'd been through some things that I was like, I don't know, and it kind of changed. I went through some things.
Life scares you.
Right.
life
it really does.
Life will punk you.
And
real quick.
Exactly. And I've been through so much. I feel like I'm just now kind of coming back to who I was as a kid. That energy, like that free spirit. Because
like being a dreamer and imagination and all that stuff.
And I always say, thank you, Mom, that she believed in me and let me do it. Because my dad used to be hardcore. Like, why are you always going on these auditions? They don't even call you. I'm like, what? Dad, come on. And then when I'd book something, he'd be like, oh, okay, that's good. Are they even paying you? Like,
right.
He was just so like, he'd let me do it. But my mom was always running around, taking me places, taking me to acting class, modeling class, dance class. I probably drove you crazy, right, Mom? Yes. But I'm very, very grateful that she just let me do that because I think it's led me to where I'm at now. I also, what she always pushed for me to do was piano. And I had a piano teacher for years, and he kind of taught me to sing and learn all these songs by Billy Joel. But what ended up happening was he got cancer, and he died when I was 13, and I didn't know how to process it. Like, one day I just showed up, and he was, like, bald and really skinny. And I didn't cry. I acted like I was too cool. I was like, yeah, it's cool. And I just never grieved until... I don't know. I probably grieved like 6 or 7 years ago. Just one day, just like started bawling, and I realized like, oh my gosh, I stopped playing the piano. I used to read music. I used to be like, killing it. Like, what happened?
And then you thought back to your teacher passing.
Yeah, and then it's funny that this is about emotional intelligence because I just didn't. I realized from that point on, anytime someone died, I just never cried. Like I was cool. I was like, I'm cool. I'm not going to go to the funeral. I'm good. I'm good. And I didn't know that it just had really affected me because, that piano teacher, he's the first guy to believe in me and think I had talent. And it's crazy because when I met Ricky, this is so funny. Like, I was an actress and I'd got an audition to be in this girl group. It was like, girl group, MCA, signed, $1 million deal. Like, it just sounded crazy. I was like, I'm not a singer. I'm an actress. I'm on Disney.
Right.
But I told Ricky, he's like, you sing all the time. Didn't you say you used to sing when you were little and write songs? I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if I'm that good. He's like, you should just audition. You'll probably book it. Of course, I auditioned and booked it, and they had us in the studio. And then I got my bug for music back, But when that fell apart, that's when the drugs came in.
But yeah, because girl groups aren't like they're not easy,
stressful.
Right? Yeah.
Well, my head got all blown up. Like we had every month, all my bills were getting paid. I had an apartment. I got a Land Rover. I was like 18.
Yeah.
I had like so much going on. I was hanging out with, celebrities all the time, and we were doing this is before reality shows. Dean Cain, remember the actor Dean Cain? He hit us up and he was like, there's this new thing coming out called reality TV. We're going to do a reality show on you guys. Like we did a pilot, we went on tour. It was like a big deal. And then
Who'd you tour with? Or you did your own tour?
We did our own tour, like different, high school tours and malls. And
because back in the day, the mall, performing at the
those
mall,
were popping.
that was it.
That was a big deal. We had little fans, and it was so amazing. But I really believed in it and gave my all to it to the point where I was turning down acting jobs. Like my girl group at the time, I had booked something from Disney. I had booked a reoccurring role on Even Stevens, and they were like, well, if you do that role, you're out of the group.
Wow.
Like, we'll drop you. And that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Yeah, that would just made you bet. That would have made the group like more popping, right?
But I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I made I literally lied to Disney Channel and said, hey, I can't do it because of this. And that was kind of like the end of that. So I just, when the girl group didn't work out, I was so messed up because it was like, first Ricky's going through his stuff. I lost my apartment. Oh, my car got repoed. I don't got allowance anymore. No one's paying my bills.
Right.
I don't have a job. So I was like, okay, I actually have to get a job. What's that like?
Right.
This is crazy. I went through so many jobs, like hostessing, waitressing, pool bar, like, you know, playing pool, like giving people their pool balls and checking them in. And dude, Ricky used to clown me because I would last at every job for like 3 weeks to the point where I'd call him. He'd be like, you quit or they fired you? Be like, I left.
Right.
This time I left, you know.
Hey, I was just telling people, I tried to work at a veggie grill. I got fired from veggie grill. I was trying to do something like work there while I was trying to do the business.
Respect,
and, you know,
man.
and I was like, oh, okay, I could save up some money for my wedding. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying, how am I going to pay for this doggone wedding? And
That's
I couldn't do it. It was like, I got fired, but I was like, I wasn't good. You know, sometimes you kind of
You're just not good.
Yeah, you
I was
like,
like, dude, this is not for me. I was such a people person. If I was a hostess or waitress, I get in trouble for talking too much.
Yeah.
Right. You're talking too much to the customers. They're asking for you, and you just need to be there. And I'm like, I can't help if I see this guy every Friday and he's nice, and I give him the table. Like, what? It just was so weird, but
service is not if you, like you said, you're a people person, it's not necessarily the best fit. You know, a concierge would be good. Maybe you could be a concierge. That's like a, you know, when you go to like a real nice spot and you can just sit down. Oh, what do you like to do? Oh, okay. Well, you know, that's more like an easier thing.
In hindsight, the good thing is it got me to the place where I was like, okay, God, like, here, what are my talents? What do you want me to pursue? And I was left with entertainment, like singing and acting. I'm like, this is what I'm good at. I don't know what else to do. Right. And I've learned to produce. You know, my brothers are both really great producers, and I've watched them. And just going through having to wait on people with music, I've learned how to do it myself. This
what
is the age.
Use?
Ableton.
Okay. I know Fruity Loops.
Hey, Fruity Loops is dope.
I'm saying I know about it. I don't know how to use it though.
Some of the best beats are made on Fruity Loops.
Yeah. So and so Ableton, like, that's your?
It's like my Nintendo. Yeah. I'm obsessed.
Oh yeah.
You know, I grew up on the old school Nintendo, but to me, it's like my own video game, and the fact that I can play and music comes out, and I keep learning more and more every time. I'm definitely addicted. It's my escape. You know, I can spend a whole day by myself at the house just working on music and trying sounds out. It's definitely a healing for me, and it gives me hope because I want to get to the point where I don't have to depend on anyone. Yeah. You know, Grimes is an inspiration for me because I heard an interview with her, and she just said, hey, you know what? I had to live on Couple Noodles for 3 months and lock myself in a room that cost $200 a month. Until I got a song that I liked. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know, sometimes you got to just do that. Figure out how to do things yourself. Find yourself.
Right.
You know, because if you're constantly having other people tell you who you are and give you music, you're just their puppet. And I grew up in that. In the girl group, I was the sexy schoolgirl, sexy Spanish schoolgirl. You're going to do this now. This is what you're wearing. You do the talking in the low voice, and this is the style you're going to have. And everyone's always telling you who you're going to be. And I've been in so many other groups, like I've always just kind of molded to what the group was. Yeah. But to find yourself, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to play a little bit of your Gold remix. So if you want to talk about it, like, wow, it's
everyone, please go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Amy Correa Bell. You can see these videos. Also directed by Megan Good.
I said it.
Seen that. We got inspired to do this video from our trip to Spain.
When did you guys go to Spain?
about 3 years ago.
Okay.
The clubs there are so sexy. It's very like reggaeton mixed with European dance, and everyone gets dressed up. It's just got such a good vibe, a worldly vibe where everyone's welcome. It's not like one kind of nationality.
Right,
you look
right.
around and there's every nationality.
Especially when you travel, you see more of that where it's like, oh, wow, okay. It's a little bit of us there. Okay, we everywhere. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
So do you, when you travel with Ricky, like how does that work? Like how often do people recognize him still? Like, and are you able to kind of like just be out and just?
We're able to just be out, but people do recognize him. I mean, it helps. Hey, that's cool.
Like, get y'all kind
I was bumping.
I like this part.
Hey.
That's my part.
It helped in Madrid because I called and said, "Hey, I pretended to be Ricky's like agent or something, and we got a table somewhere."
Oh,
So it helps. People know him actually. They're like, "Hey, I know who you are."
No, that's what I'm saying.
Poison that song is a monster, man.
Yeah.
It's universal.
Right.
Internationally known.
That's what that's the thing that I love so much about the series. I was like, you know what? Because they say that great artists are always able to reinvent themselves, right? So you just see like historically, like the greatest artists that we know of our generation and past generations, they just know how to reinvent this. And then you see the series, you see the new edition series, and you're like, they just continue to like rebrand, repackage, reinvent, new sound, new everything. It would just be like, but it's the same guys, but it's just like, oh, we got this now. You know what I'm saying?
Like 30 years.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and it continues even to this day. They got another show or something coming up, but
RBRM.
RBRM.
Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. They're going on tour right now.
So and Faith Evans and stuff. I just seen like a poster or whatever for it, but I was just like, it just non-stop till 2018 and beyond.
And then they have the old fans plus the newer fans, and then you just
that's what I love is when I see the little kids now when we're out and they're like, "Mom, is that Ricky Bell from the New Edition movie?" And they're doing the moves. I'm like,
that's tight.
That's so sweet. And big shout out to the parents that put their kids up on game with the New Edition tunes. That's awesome. Parents that show their kids the Jacksons. New Edition.
Right.
That's Jackson's, and that's the other artist. Like my kids love the Jackson, Michael Jackson, and you
gotta tell them about Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
right.
I just can't believe how awesome he.
We had the luxury of growing up with him.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Yeah.
Not for no iPhone.
Right.
No, I'll just come home from school and watch him on MTV.
Right. Just the videos alone, like that was a adventure. Like
he gave us like the first like movie,
like the real
videos, like
movie.
There was a production. There was a production. You know what I'm saying? Like,
situation
it was
where
like, oh, you seen the new Michael? Oh, I see it.
I would watch
it
over and over and over again. Like
we knew
on VHS.
I knew Michael Jackson was great, but I just didn't know like he was gonna be like basically the great, like like you would just see like okay, like Michael Jordan, you're just like wow, like you know at the time we were watching like he's really good, but you're not, you don't realize that oh my god, like we're watching the greatest basketball player all time.
You guys for saying that because some people say other things. Like I don't think I can be friends with you.
Come on. I mean, well,
because our fathers and our grandfathers will say, what about Bill Russell? And
that's funny because
talk about all those old
Chamberlain.
dudes.
People don't bring up Bill Russell enough for me personally.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's like it depends on the times, like or who you're talking to, because now most of these young cats will be like, oh, Kobe's the greatest.
Yeah.
Before they'll say LeBron, they'll say, "Oh, Kobe's the greatest of all." But like, well, what about Jordan? They never had the opportunity to see Jordan play,
right?
You know what I'm saying, and watch him become the greatest. Like, watch him play sick, watch him, score buckets on people. So it's
right.
I don't talk sports a lot, but that's one of like I grew up in that era. Of,
definitely.
When basketball was like becoming a real big thing, and Jordan was Jordan
Now,
was
I
around.
would say, now I love basketball, and I didn't appreciate basketball enough during the time when Jordan was being great.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I remember just being young and watching him. Like, I watched him, I've seen him play, but like when I really, really got into basketball, and the thing is, I like LeBron.
Mhm.
He's cool and everything. I'm not a fan because he's a rival to my team, the Warriors. But I feel like, because LeBron is my age, you know what I mean? So I feel like I went through that process with him, no different than Kobe. Like, watching them and seeing them kind of go through that process does make a difference, just like you said, with like having not access, because I didn't know Michael like that, Jackson, where, you know, I can just call him like, hey, Michael, can I come over to Netherlands? But the point is that he was alive, he was making music, he was current at the time, you know what I mean, when you're growing up. So it's like, it's personal, just like with Whitney Houston. It's personal.
Has
like,
an impact
you know what I
on
mean?
your
Right.
personality.
Exactly. And so being able to have that experience, you know, nobody can really take that away. So for the younger generation, you know, what they have, and one of my friends, she brought it up, and it made sense to me. Like, when you think about the people who influence or who were popular at the time, like when you were really growing up and coming into yourself, like how much they influence who you are now, and then who you were then, and then thinking about like even the music industry now, and a lot
Right.
of the people that are influencers now, and the impact that they're having on whether the males or the females, then I can process that and say, okay, that makes sense. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's crazy to think about it like that.
right.
But yeah, now thinking back when I was younger, music videos and music was like the answer to my problems. Like just seeing Janet, Madonna, all the 80s videos, it was a story. I was like, I want to be you. Like, I want to be in that video. Like, I want to do that.
Right.
It gave me hope, you know. And I remember thinking back when I used to see my mom work so hard. I was like, I'm gonna do it, Mom. So you don't have to work so hard anymore. I'm gonna get there. You know, that was like my dream. Like one day, and I had something to hold on to. And now we got Instagram, and there's like so many different kinds of influencers. And I just try to think now with the impact, like if I'm influencing anyone, because I have a lot of young girls that follow me, I try to be really mindful of like what image I'm putting out there, because a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just be more sexy and show more skin and just get on out there and get more followers? And like, I can do that, but my 8 and 9-year-old little cousin and my 13-year-old little cousin, they're going to do the same thing next week if I do that.
Right. And you're coming
What if
from
you,
a different, you know,
could do it with your
perspective.
husband like Beyonce did? Did you see that recently? Did you
Yeah,
see?
I don't know if I
was
like
like-
that. I don't know.
I thought it was. We were debating it, but I was like,
It's
maybe,
a little personal to me.
maybe. Well, yeah, I did. I was just
No
thinking
judgment,
maybe,
but
Right.
like,
maybe
I just-
because he was there, did it change it a little bit because she did it with her, you know, like they're together while they're.
Well, if it was a better
kinda-
picture, do you think we would say something different? Do you think we would be like, I don't know. I didn't think. I wasn't a big fan. I respect them both so much, but I
Yeah.
wasn't a fan of that picture. Let me just say the picture.
Yeah. I thought it was different than we are obviously used to seeing. And I thought the only thing I would say is like if she was single, it would definitely read differently.
Yeah.
You know. But I think because she's married, she's been married for a long time, and mother, you know, what, 3? Yeah, mother 3. Shout out to the twins.
Wow.
But yeah, so I think she kind of is like now could just say, "Oh, I'm embracing my, you know, my next level of womanhood, and I'm woman. Hear me roar." You know, I don't know.
It's
kinda
just so
thing.
hard to
Yeah.
like you said, to not, you know, you go on social media. We don't want to judge, but sometimes I don't go on there on purpose
Y'all
just so I
over
could
here-
not have an
y'all
opinion.
over here just
Yeah.
judging.
Right?
What about IGTV? Have y'all used that
I'm
yet?
trying to
I
work
don't
with
even
that.
understand it.
I was trying to upload a video and it made it all close up. I
Yeah,
was like,
so
how
it's
can
got.
I-
So you still got. It's just vertical. You still got to be vertical, which is.
So I gotta change all my videos to vertical.
Well, you could change it. Well, you don't have to change it to vertical.
I don't know how it works.
But
I just know it gives me alerts.
So you know how. So basically, so you see, you got your Instagram story, right?
Yeah.
So how it looks vertical. So essentially, you could do Instagram TV and record. You could upload or record hour worth of content, but it's gonna come out vertical. Meaning, like you don't have even if you record.
So it's better if you shoot it vertical, obviously.
Yeah, if you shoot it vertical, then
I have to shoot all new videos then.
But you could also kind of change. You could take something you already shot.
Yeah.
And just make it vertical. Like,
so the point is just to give people more time because the regular videos are like a minute long, so to give people
like so you can only upload a minute to the regular Instagram and then 15 seconds to like the Instagram story. But now if you click on the IGTV icon and you click on like that person's name or that
it's cool
Instagram thing, but I think it's a cool thing because eventually I guess they'll I think that it's becoming like a way that people can
promote,
like do longer form content.
Yeah.
But it's just one more outlet, and that you can now you don't have to switch to a new platform.
More jobs.
Yeah, more jobs.
More work.
But then people I think it's just we're all in this content business and things, and so I think it's just more ways to get yourself out there, and then now you got a channel essentially.
I'm looking for someone who could just do all this for me. Just take pictures, post them for me, follow me around.
Everybody got time for
who wants the part?
Hey, now that's definitely a new wave, new age. I think
I've seen celebrities have that. And I was like, that's cool. I would do it if I had someone following me around too. It's easier. Right. They edit it for you and post it.
Right.
And you see these people and you're like, I just need to post all the time like they do. It's like, well, they're not doing that all by themselves.
No, definitely not. It's a team. Exactly. It takes a team for sure.
Exactly.
And what, like, in this new, like, space of, like, social media and then also reality and all that stuff, like, where do you feel, I know you say you have things coming down the pipeline, but, like, where do you feel like your story best fits? Like, is it a book? Like your love story, your relationship. My
story with Ricky or my story
it's going to be on TV,
but
right?
They're both, right? I'm saying kind of in one, I mean like your music and then also like, to me it almost seems like maybe you're, maybe like almost like your own show, or it seems like y'all should have or something like that.
Don't try to get me to give up the goods now, Charles. I see what you're doing.
I was just saying. But it just seems like y'all have that kind of relationship that seems like people would,
I think for Ricky and I, we want to tell our story through art, through film, and music and sound. So like a soundtrack per se to our life story.
Yeah.
So people will get to see and hear music with each part of our chapter, each part of our story. So that's what we're working on. I won't give any more details, but I feel like out of that, Ricky, people haven't seen the best and the rest of Ricky either as a solo artist. He's so talented.
Yeah.
He was just in the studio. We're working on our second single, Motion, laying down his parts. He did it so fast. I was like, okay, you've done this before. He's like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, wow, dude. He's so talented. He sounds great.
Because even in the when you guys did the gold video, it was like a story in that too, right?
The slow version.
Yeah. So like what's is that like those the two are those your characters gonna be like going on this journey together?
That was that kind of inspired what we're working on now, but that was actually Megan Good's. That was the concept she came up with of just us meeting and how we instantly connected and fell in love, and then the concept of, him having a secret and me finding out, and us almost breaking apart, but I end up deciding to stay. Yeah. So it's just another version of our story with a different plot, said a lot quicker. But that definitely, because we had been through some aspect of that, I think it came across on screen like real true love. So that we were like, okay, hey. And what I noticed was Ricky's a really great actor. I didn't, Megan's an incredible director. She brought the best out of us, and she really knows how to give direction, and she'll be like, okay, no, you do it like this, and she'll act it out.
Mm-hmm.
And Megan's my best friend. We've been knowing each other since I was 14 and a half.
Wow.
Because
I was just gonna ask, like, how did you guys get connected?
We met at a callback for a show, and we ended up doing the show together. It was a pilot for USA called Just One of the Girls.
Oh, wow.
And we stayed friends, but, you know, she was with me the second time I'd ever seen Ricky, and she was with me throughout the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows our story better than
Right.
anyone. So when it came time to find the director for our video, like, I was just going to her house to kind of vent to her that I didn't know who was going to direct it. And she's like, why didn't you ask me? I'm like, because you're making good. I don't want to be that friend that's like, you know, uses their friend or just
Right.
says, hey, can you
Yeah.
do this for me? Can you
Yeah.
get this hookup? Well, that's not my vibe. And she's like, no, I'd be honored. And she was crying when she heard the slow version of the song. And a lot of people tear up with that song. It's super emotional. So it's like, you know what? Megan knows us better than anyone. And she's like, I see the scene. You guys are on dirt road. She just literally said the
Yeah.
whole video.
Oh, wow.
And I go, let me call Ricky on speaker.
Right.
We gotta
Hold
make the
on.
treatment. We gotta write it down.
Hold on. And it was really great working with her, location scouting and just doing everything we did. It was like such a fun process. I mean, we've been friends for so long, and we have worked together. You know, we did A Girl Like Grace together. But to work with her as a director and me as an artist was
Right.
such a treat. Yeah, it was like, I never thought I'd be working with my two best friends, like Megan and Ricky, on the same project. And
From your music, that's your that's
yeah,
cool.
it's just a yummy treat
Yeah.
for me. I'm like, thanks,
Yeah.
God.
And
I'm really digging this.
That's probably like when you're creating music. That's probably like your best, like that's the best feeling that you have, like as far as being a creative and like
Yeah.
being able to create music.
And it's
the
weird
whole
because
thing.
when you meet someone, you never know what your journey is going to be
Right.
with them later on and where it's going to
Mhm.
take you to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow. Megan is one of the most humble, sweetest, most beautiful people inside and out that I've ever met. Like, hands down, she is so sweet, and she calls out the golden people. Like, I've seen her talk to fans for an hour and just cry with them, and I'm like, wow, dude, we gotta go. Like, but she really cares. She's like, no, did you know her story?
Yeah.
She had been through this, and I'm like, wow, she's just such a sweet person. And she definitely inspires me still to this day. Like, and we're a lot alike. I think we've been through a lot together too, and times apart. But in this season of our lives, now that we're both married, I think we really are able to connect and help each other on a different level now, which is
And that helps.
freaking cool.
Having close friends that are also married, because then they understand on a different way than your single friends would. You
Yeah.
love them, but they don't understand because
I mean, I have a friend that's single that's amazing, and she totally gets it. I have friends that I trust that are single, but it helps to have someone when you're married that is married that can say, oh man, yeah, girl, guess what's
Right.
going on with me today? And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not the only one.
right.
It's you need it. You need that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you don't like to feel like the odd one out, you know, because there is a time where a lot of my single friends, they weren't inviting me places.
Uh-huh.
I was like, hey, I still like to go out and have a good time.
Right.
I want to go. Like, you're
I'm
married.
available.
I want to hang out. I still have a life. But
Right.
anyways, we've gotten really deep, guys.
Well, I wanted to share a couple of things from this article that Charles shared when it talks about emotional maturity. And it says it's the ability to handle situations without unnecessarily escalating them. Instead of seeking to blame someone else for their problems or behavior, emotionally mature people seek to fix the problem or behavior. They accept accountability for their actions. It says emotionally mature people don't lie in uncomfortable situations. Rather, they face the reality of them head on. In a disagreement, they don't resort to personal attacks. They address the issues being discussed. They are not impulsive, and they don't speak recklessly. They make sure they are calm and think before they speak. They aren't bullies or narcissists. They respect boundaries. They don't rely on immature defense mechanisms of deflections. In short, they aren't childish. And I know, Charles, when you first mentioned emotionally mature, emotional intelligence, I was thinking to myself, am I emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature? And I think my first answer would be yes. And then I was thinking about as I look over my marriage and just certain things in certain situations where I'm like, yeah, I didn't take the emotionally mature, emotional intelligent road. And that's why I say when you're like in the midst of certain things and you're in a certain emotional place, that's like hard. It's very hard. Like, it's very difficult. And I think that if you're
but your
not...
emotions are, you're probably going through, you're pregnant. So that's
well, I mean, in pregnancy, but even outside of pregnancy.
That's all I just wondering. I'm like,
congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm like, I'm saying when I'm sure your emotions.
Well, it's heightened. It's definitely heightened. I've definitely fallen into some scenarios where I was just like, okay, that was extra. Like, I've never seen myself be extra like that before. But at the same time, it's like there are certain situations where I just know, like, okay, I could have handled that way better than what I did, because that was probably wasn't the best way to take on that situation. You know what I mean? And as you said, Cam, like, it is very difficult, and I feel like you can't know if you're emotionally intelligent or mature in a sense until you're really being challenged in that area, because it would be easy, like, if you're talking to somebody that you don't respect or talking to somebody that you've already disregarded, to be like, okay, I'm above this, I don't have to. But like when you're really in the midst of something, it in that moment when you can, like, because I've been emotionally intelligent in some situations, but if I say just overall, like, that might not be my go-to, because I've been tested in marriage in different areas that I have been outside of it where I would say, yes, I was. You get what I mean?
Huh. You kind of lost me a little bit.
Did you get what I said, Cam?
Yeah, it's pretty much is that you can recognize where
you have been and where you haven't been,
but you also know that there's still work, because when you're in the moment, like you recognize times where you know that you've exercised the emotional intelligence,
right?
But then there are other times where it's in the moment, it's harder. It's
right.
harder.
But specifically in marriage, I've been tested in a way where this emotional maturity and intelligence of what they're talking about, because it means more, versus you're in a situation where it's like,
can just get out of,
I don't really care about this situation, or like, I don't care.
It makes you try. It makes you try harder. You just kind of
dismiss it, and you would consider that emotional intelligence, because you're like, I'm not even going to argue with you. Like, you know what I mean? But I really feel like what they're talking about in the face of.
So to me, to pick on what you're saying, I think you need to give some things energy instead of trying to dismiss it.
Right.
You need to give things energy. You need to be able to process. You need to be able to work through, because the dismissal of it could be more drastic than you blowing up, or they're becoming an art.
It doesn't mean that you're mature.
Exactly. Just exactly. That as well.
Wow.
I haven't always been emotionally intelligent, I'll say.
Me neither.
But I know now, and I can definitely say that it's being worked on now, more heavily than ever. But yeah, it's crazy because I see myself talking to different people and I'm dealing with different women, or one specific woman. It's just like
nice nice catch right there.
I don't even really be paying attention to stuff
Can I
like
just
that.
say for all the women out there, I love when I hear guys saying that they're like dealing with that and they're okay with that.
Yeah,
that's cool. Like I feel like I wish more men would talk about that.
Well, for me, it's because I know that I've had a temper and I know that I've had, like I said, I haven't practiced emotional intelligence in my relationships in the past.
Yeah.
And I've recognized, when you go through a breakup or whichever, you start to hear things, and it's just like, okay, now I understand what that person was talking about. Now now that I'm in it again,
right?
Now that I'm in it again,
better.
Now I can learn from the situation. So now it's like where my communication was off in talking with women. Now I'm able to listen more and I'm able to respond better because of the fact that I'm now choosing to be more emotional intelligent.
Can we put the claps on?
Give
the
them the claps. Give them the claps. And it helps. No, it does help though, because it makes you. Outside of the relationship being able to function, it just makes you feel better as a person when you're able to be more at peace, because you're not allowing things to thwart you. You know what I'm saying? You're not allowing little minuscule things. Now, I will say that it's harder because now that I'm recognizing it, it's like I want to react, but I can't. It's like
when you know better, you do better.
Yeah,
so now
like,
you're accountable and responsible.
I just want to just jump down your throat right now.
You're obviously dealing with a lady that is emotionally intelligent, though, because or she's meeting you halfway.
No,
you're not gonna give her no credit.
No,
because you wouldn't be trying if she wasn't doing
It's not
something.
that I'm not trying to give her credit. It's just that.
He's like, y'all crazy.
No, you guys are, but
but
it's because it's like, okay, you guys as women, you guys understand that the show is all about you, but then at the same time, you guys don't.
It doesn't feel that way sometimes,
and that's what I'm saying. So that part right there, that you guys don't feel like. But it's like you still walk around as if, But anyway,
they got 9 tips to increase your emotional intelligence.
Wait, before you give the tip, hold on, because it says emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and manage your own emotions as well as the emotions of others. You can identify an emotion and respond to it rather than react, which is another critical skill.
That is exactly what I put in
this
the text
part
message.
here. It says emotionally intelligent people, which I feel like is the most important part that I learned, are in touch with their emotions and able to articulate them. So they don't deny them, they don't try to mask them as something else, but they harness them and apply them as necessary when it comes to thinking or problem solving, especially in relationships. And I felt that part was key, because we can be aware of our emotions, but not know, because that's kind of where my limitation is. I know what I'm feeling, but I don't know how to express and articulate that where the other person in a tactful way where it will be understood, and then I don't fall into being passive aggressive.
Oh, that's the trap right there.
That's where me and my husband were like, we know how to be passive aggressive.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Don't go anywhere.
That's not. I'm about to say that's not. If y'all both passive aggressive, that's definitely not gonna.
That's.
I know.
That was.
You ain't gotta tell
the
me.
reason as to why my relationship more than likely did not last is because we were both very extremely passive aggressive.
I think Los Angeles is AKA passive aggressive. It's like a way out here.
Well, it's
I don't know what that.
I think it's the skin. So it's like everybody knows we have the moniker of being a superficial place, right? Cool.
Right. People give codes through Instagram instead of just saying stuff.
But I think
just tell me.
But I think what happens is that because we have to put on this persona, we have this skin that we have to protect. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like this persona. But then at the same time, we don't want the other person to know, you know, that they're the shit. So it's like it's like a passive aggressiveness. Like
you want them to figure it out for you, or something.
Yeah.
Because people speak in codes when they're being passive aggressive. They want you to be like, they must be mad at me.
Yeah.
Maybe they're mad at me because of this, and then you're over there figuring it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And look,
you're trying to do the beautiful mind thing or whatever. So yesterday I did that. So
man, I don't got time.
Well, I love for people to be straight up, but
Please.
I guess I refer or revert to sarcasm, which comes off as
Passive aggressive.
Sarcasm I do sarcasm, but it is a passive aggressive thing, and especially
it's very passive aggressive.
And they say, as they say, truth
I'll just
is
have
said,
an attitude.
Yeah, truth is said and just.
Right.
So it's like if you say I'm just joking, but it's really like you meant it basically. So
well, you know, I've always been irritated with people that are passive aggressive, and I have a confession to make. I recently got into it with my man, and it's because I was being passive aggressive. And just to be honest, I realized it was because I was afraid to say something because I didn't want a certain reaction. So because I just never spoke up about it and pushed it down for so long, it just started coming out in attitude, in responses, like with an attitude. And then it's like, hey, you know what? The reason I was having an attitude is because this is how I really feel. And then I didn't even know I really felt that way. It's just, I just kept pushing it down. So I mean, it's weird that it's kind of coming around and we're talking about this as today. Now I'm like, I can't judge people who are passive aggressive because I've done it too now, and it's because I wasn't in touch with. Like,
but that's what she was saying. She's like, you gotta be the part of emotional intelligence is saying like, okay, this is what's happening. This is how I feel about it. You know, like, or this is how.
Not denying it or saying it's something else. Like, you mad? Like, nah, I'm not mad. I'm just, you can be mad.
Say,
you
hey,
have
how do you
every right to be mad, but now let's talk about how to process what went wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like how to try to dissect it and see where the
issue?
Where the root of the problem is? The underlying problem?
Where the fault happened.
Well, then I think you definitely need to have a safe place with your friends or your partner or husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, where you can say, hey, I'm feeling a little upset or uncomfortable right now because of this.
I'm upset.
I'm not saying that you didn't. I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but this is just how I'm processing it, and I'm just putting it out there. And then I think when you do that, it loses its power. So then you don't start doing little, sarcasm or having an attitude or getting quiet and expecting someone to figure out why you're quiet and fix it.
Right. Because I found that when I do try to express with my husband what I'm feeling, instead of him just understanding that, he always takes it personal. Like it's some sort of attack on him, and I'm like, look, it's not an attack.
Off my chest for me.
I'm really just trying to, express it so that you understand why I'm reacting the way that I'm reacting, but it's not like.
Is it something that he did?
Girl, I totally understand you right now.
Just answer the question. Is it something that he did?
It really just depends.
What do you mean it depends?
Well, I'm sure it's something that he did, but my point is not to say like an attack. Like, oh, you blah, blah, blah. It's, this happened. So, let's acknowledge the fact that I'm feeling a way. Now I want to express why I'm feeling this way. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to continue feeling this way. It's just a matter of I want you to be aware that I am aware of how I am acting and how I'm feeling.
You need a safe place.
And I want you, exactly. I want an emotionally safe place where I can express that, and then it be there, and then you understand it.
That's
and then,
how the conversation needs to be started all the time, though.
Okay, that's a good tip.
That's the
So
tactful
Thank
way.
you.
No, you just told yourself.
No, but you have to
tell
tell me
the
so now I
ladies.
can listen because I was talking.
Oh.
So now I want to be able to listen.
So you need to come to him and say, hey,
Uh-huh.
I recognize that I'm feeling a type of way.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that I'm going to be feeling this type of way forever, but I'm aware that X, Y, and Z happened, and I would just like to have a safe place to express that to you so that we could figure things
And
out.
move on, to
Because
the next thing.
instead of coming at, so this is what you did. Remember when you did?
Well, I don't come
That
off
shit-
like that.
But
I get it.
you see how
Yes.
one can be less personal and seem like an attack. So if
You're
you
right. I think the way
That's
the way
exactly
us
how we-
ladies word things
so-
really
Yeah.
matters.
And that's,
Yesterday
and I'll
you
say, I don't know
did-
how to say it to you then. But
Oh,
then
the
that's
tone
passive-aggressive.
definitely.
You said,
like,
damn.
me and my wife would get into it. We'll be like, because she'll say something, and I'll feel like basically, like she'll say something to me, and she'll feel like she's not having an attitude. So then I'll have an attitude where I'll be like, where's the soap? It's in the kitchen. I'm like, why you say it like that? You know what I'm saying? Like we're just, and it's like it's just like, well, she's saying why I'm saying
Right.
like. Why'd you say it like that to me? I'm like, well, you said that to me like that. So it's like kind of like, and I'm like, I'm just reflecting the energy that you're giving to me, or that I feel like you're giving it to me. But
I've heard that so many times about that. I'm reacting a certain way because of your energy.
Because it's true,
and all
though.
that.
but it just.
But
like,
I'm gonna tell
yeah.
you why. I'm gonna tell you why.
Uh-oh.
Peep this scenario, just like what you were just talking about, how you're being passive aggressive. So there's a situation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a situation at hand. You haven't expressed to him or had the opportunity to have this safe space communication to say, "Hey, I'm feeling a type of way." So it's festering up in you.
Yeah.
He's coming in here blind. Don't know what the fuck is going on. Hey, babe, can you now? Why you gotta ask? That's exactly what happened. So you're feeling some type of way, and so now you respond to him. It could have been anything. Your trigger about don't touch my clothes in the washing machine.
Really?
But no, she knows. He knows that's.
Don't touch that pink bra now.
Yeah, he knows
Oh,
that's
you-
something.
I was like, at
It
first
could
it
be-
was sounding like a random example. and I was
Yeah,
like,
but he
hey,
knows it.
no,
No, wait a second.
that
you know I
wasn't
don't like
random.
that.
Whatever. Continue.
But it could be any one of those triggers,
Right.
And he's
Triggers.
blinded to
Right.
it,
Yeah.
and so now it's just like it's mirrored because now that you've responded a certain type of way, now that energy that you've
He
been
comes
feeling
back, yeah.
has been transferred to him,
That's what
and now
Einstein
he's going to
says.
transfer that back to you, and now you guys are just going to be
Well,
shooting a bunch of
shouldn't
negative
he,
energy.
If
So
he's
does-
emotionally mature, not transfer the energy back to
No,
me?
So does it-
Nah, because
if
that,
your
that
emotion-
energy moves quickly.
It does.
And
Energy
it
does
said-
affect
And it
things.
said energy can't be destroyed.
Destroyed, it just transferred.
Yeah, it goes just transferred. That's what Einstein was saying. So it is energy, and it's not. And it's not the perfect solution to the thing to say. But we literally had that thing. She was like, and then we were like in Temecula, and it was squashed after like the one back and forth. But it was like, why'd you say that? I was literally just. She thought she was just asking me something, but it was. I felt like it was the tone, and and then I gave her a tone, and then she was like, well, I was only giving you a tone because you
Yeah,
gave me
'cause
one.
you're good at that.
You know?
You're good at
But
that.
and that's another
Whatever.
thing on us, though. Sometimes it may not be, and it's vice versa. Sometimes it may not even be a tone,
Uh-huh.
but we may be thinking too deep into a situation.
Because of maybe previous reactions
Exactly,
and previous
exactly.
behaviors,
And
it's
so
like,
because,
she just
because you may be feeling a certain type of way, you think that
Yeah.
you've heard a tone.
Well,
or
because
whichever.
that goes to wanting one of the 9 ways to one of the 9 tips to increase your emotional intelligence for strong relationships is the number 1 tip is know thyself. And so that's part of your emotional IQ. Is they say self-awareness.
good.
Yeah, self-awareness is a big thing, because if you don't have self-awareness, you're not going to be able to know what, like,
your limits.
are you how are you reacting? Are you overreacting?
That's why I would
Because-
think emotional maturity takes. It's a process.
It's-
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
because knowing yourself, like I've said it before. You know who I was at 21. You know what I mean? Is not who I was at 25. It definitely isn't who I was at 30. And it is not who I am pregnant. You know what I mean? And then becoming a mother.
Or is that an age?
What age is pregnant?
How old are you? Pregnant?
Basically.
Old enough to be pregnant.
So I've gathered from what all you guys are saying that in order to be emotionally intelligent, you need to surround yourself with people that, number one, accept you for you and are forgiving, and that you are also constantly forgiving them, or you have a ability to like let people, fall and make mistakes and have a safe place to mess up. Mm-hmm. Right.
Now with that, because I think that what you just said is very profound. My question would be for someone who may not do that, but may want to do that, and how, the ability to do that. Because I really feel like, through, like I've said before, experience and circumstance, it molds and it breaks you, and it to a point where maybe you are kind of like, mm-hmm. and not accepting of other people in a lot of situations. But then as you learn and realize and you meet more people who have different stories and you connect with them on different levels, that it opens you up, in a way that maybe you weren't before. And again, that kind of goes back into knowing thyself, which is part of the tip, because the more that a person has gone through, typically the more open and receptive they are to other people, because they understand their own, shortcomings and failures,
and
versus those who haven't gone through a whole lot. So it's harder to understand, like, because you're looking at a person like, well, why would you even do that? Or how could you have gone through that? Because you're looking at it through your own lens, versus... They
say be open. Number 2 is be open to feedback and criticism.
Oh, okay.
And that's, I guess, it kind of play both of those, because you don't always want to just be in your own head the whole time. There's going to be... you live in the world, so people are going to kind of, especially that you're close with, are going to kind of also chime in on certain things.
Then you do want to surround yourself with people that are giving...
telling the truth?
Yeah, telling the truth, and also giving and not just takers.
Right.
I feel like it's important also who's your friend, who you're with, because if you're emotionally intelligent but you're with someone that's constantly making you feel bad about stuff, constantly accusing you and not forgiving you or bringing up stuff in the past, you're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
So you have to at least have someone that's going to, hey, it's cool, man, love you, forgive you. We all, they're giving something to you at the same time, because all of this is cool. But I was like thinking, we're talking about being affected by different personalities. Mm-hmm. If you're hanging out with people that just aren't catching your heart and trying to be better, and they're just like, whatever, and throwing stuff in your face, that's kind of like a waste of your emotional intelligence, right?
And I feel like just when I've been seeing you, you bring a lot of good energy and a lot of positivity. And I'm just wondering, did you have like any suggestions? Like, did you do some kind of like work, counseling, or any kind of thing to like, I don't know, get to a better place? You know what I'm saying?
I went to therapy. I have a couples therapist, and the meetings, which I haven't, been crazy consistent with recently, but they help. And then just I have friends that I can trustworthy people, couple close friends that I really am able to bear it all and not feel judged and sound crazy. Mm-hmm. And then what I'm always going to get back from them is a positive response. Mm-hmm. Hey, and I think the main thing with me is I spent the last year or 2 years kind of cutting people out, slowly, just distancing myself from my social life and all the friends I had, because I was constantly giving and spreading myself so thin. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't just focused on the best friends and the relationships I had that were giving to me. Right. Because I was just all over the place. And I was constantly tired and not able to handle my issues. But it got to the point where I was going through so much stuff, I just couldn't do it anymore. And I remember praying, God, please take out the people out of my life that are not supposed to be there, because I can't let them go and I don't know what to do.
Right.
Just get me so busy that I don't even have time for them, because
Right.
I don't know what to do. I'm so tired. I don't know who's right, who's wrong. Like, you show me.
Right.
That prayer, woo, got answered, and it hurts, and it really, really hurts. But I think I love to learn. I love to study, just growing and being better, because I just want to be better. You know, when you've been through so much pain, you're just like, I just want to be better. What do I got to do? What do I got to read?
Right.
Do I need to pray? Do I need to listen to some
Right.
positive song today? Like, who do I need to talk to? I think I've just been through so much, and I'm tired of running. You know, I'm not running to drugs and alcohol anymore to numb that, because I did that a lot and unknowingly just, you know, went to that. And I think I'm just tired of doing that. I'm like, because it doesn't go away. Weed does not make my problems go away. It just makes it for later day. It just postpones it for next week.
Right.
And then it's worse next week. So I'm just like, okay, I just want to feel it. And the more I'm realizing that I work on myself, I feel like I'm attracting more positive people and situations like this. You guys inviting me to this today. It's like a sign for me from God, like, hey, you're on the right path. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yay.
So it means a lot to me, you guys. No,
We're
seriously.
part of the yellow brick road.
Yay! You guys have great
Yeah,
energy,
yeah.
all
Well,
of
that's
you.
cool.
Really positive, and
I wanted to say that when you spoke on the like the death of your teacher,
Yeah.
I connect. I feel you, because I've had some death happen to me, and I understand how you can become numb to death after that. Like,
yeah,
I've had a you know, traumatic death in my family, and after that death, it was just like you just become kind of numb. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's like okay, and you just move on, but you don't never really fully process
yeah,
the whole
and
situation.
never get over it, really.
So I thank you for sharing that.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for relating to me on that. A lot of people don't like to talk about it, you know, but when you've been through that, man, drugs and alcohol feel really good.
Yeah.
And they do help in that moment. But then when the moment's over, it's still there. That pain, it's still there. And so, I mean, for me, like, I just pray, like, hey, God, can I have a dream with my piano teacher or something? Can you do something, even if I don't remember when I wake up, so I just feel better?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's stuff I pray for. I'm like, and I have hope that I'll see them again,
Right.
Yeah.
you know.
Then
And
that makes the music and your career and everything you do that more meaningful, because all of that energy and all of that healing and all of that excuse me, growth that you've experienced, now you get to authentically, you know, put that into your music in a way where now it gives back to you too. You know what I mean? Because
That's
I
true.
feel like there are some artists that you can hear about that they're still in the pain. So even though they give all of that and they pour all of that, it's not really giving much back to them. So it's almost like,
Wow.
I gave you all that. I gave you my story. I gave you my experience. I gave you all that. But now I'm left empty, exposed, naked. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like when people, even though experience that, but they've gotten to a healing place, but now they still have that. And it's not, you know, the drugs. It's not the alcohol. It's not the sex. It's not the killing people or whatever it is that people do that gives them that rise. They get to pour back into, for you, music. For other people, it may be writing. It may be, you know, what they do on their job, but they give back to it and gives back to them.
Right.
And then it's a fulfilling experience. So now when, yes, you want to go back to it, of course, but it's not taking from you, you know?
And I think for people that have been through those traumas, I am super forgiving. I always give people second chances, and sometimes I'm too nice, but it's because I have lost, you know, I did lose a friend to suicide, you know, 4 years ago. And the last time I saw him, you know, I had a pimple on my face. So I said, hey, I don't want him to see me because I look crazy right now. You know, and I think about that moment all the time. If I would have just like went up to him and said, how are you? Like,
Right.
you know, could that have changed something? So now I'm always like forgiving people, like, you know what? I love you, man. Whatever. We don't see eye to eye, but like, we're good. If I see you, we're good. So I just have that. I'm proud of that now. And I used to think that was like a weakness. I'm like, no, that's a strength. Whatever.
Right.
I'm not going to have resentments because when someone goes, you forget about all that stuff. You just remember the good times.
Right.
And you're just like, you know, whatever part they were in my life, they affected me, my personality in some way. I want to keep on and hold on to the good in that, you know, and see the positive in it. Now, you guys got me all deep here. Shoot, man.
Well, we have reached the end of the show, midnight.
You made it through.
Right.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
I have a song that's going to come out. It's called This Guy's Gotta Love. There is 3 different versions of the song out. My producer, Bosco, did an amazing remix of it. He produced it, played live guitar on it. I'm editing the video right now with Megan Good, and I would just really appreciate it if you guys would check it out when it comes out. Go to my YouTube page, youtube.com/Amy Correa Bell. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Amy Correa Bell. And, you know, support your girl. Trying to live out my dreams, you know.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. And we're going to sign off, but Charles, I want you to get her saying that again so then we can repost it online.
Yeah.
That way it makes it easier.
Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
You know,
this was lovely.
So,
lovely.
Thank you.
Alrighty, people. Good night.
What up? It's King Reed.
Hey, what's going on this white day?
Hi, my name's Raina Biddy.
What's up? This is Shell Bailey.
Yo, peace. This is Ice Life.
I just have my love sessions.
I came down here from the Bay and came to Love Sessions. I had so much fun.
It was amazing. Tune in every Monday.
10 to midnight.
Be there, player.
Y'all keep it going, all right? Peace.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Amy Correa Bell. You know, we just wrapped Monday Night Love Sessions, and we got a chance to talk about emotional intelligence and the music I got coming up and the music that's out right now with my husband, Ricky Bell, Gold EP. Make sure to check out my new single coming out next week, Disguise Gotta Love, and the video coming out directed by Megan Good. Follow me at Amy Correa Bell.